Welcome to East by West Farms. Here we grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Today I'm going to clear out some field and plant corns. What a beautiful day today. The high today is going to be 80s. It is a huge contrast from 3 weeks ago when we have temperature in the teens and the entire field was covered by 6 inches of snow. Now spring is here. We have the peach trees are blooming. The fava beans that survived the deep freeze, they are blooming. The vegetables that I transplanted, or like cilantro that they survived the cold, are growing like crazy. This is the exciting time for the gardeners. We prepare the field and then we sow the seeds for the summer crop. It's busy, but it's definitely a very rewarding work. I'm going to use this field area over here to plant some corns. Right now it looks pretty messy. It has just haze and the weed and the debris. This used to be just native grass. They are very hard to plow and very hard to get rid of. I covered this area with hay and didn't do anything for the entire winter. So now spring is here, so what I'm going to do is move the hay toward this side. I will clear about 3 feet over here, and then I can plant the corn over here. And I will also do succession plant. What I'm going to do is come back in 2 or 3 weeks, and then clear the area that I covered with hay, so that I can plant another block of corn. That will give me a 6 feet block of corn, and hopefully that should be big enough for me for the pollination. Because I plant this block in succession 2 or 3 weeks apart, the corn will mature at a different time. And so that will extend the harvest season a little bit more. To clear the field, all I need is this hoe. I will move the hay aside and then use the hoe to tease out the topsoil and loosen it up, and then I can plant the corn. There are quite a lot of wheat grow over here. And that essentially, to me, that's just green manure or green mulch. I'm going to use the hoe to move the grass or the hay out, and then I just use the hoe to tease out the topsoil and get rid of the weed. And the wheat, of course, will mix in with the hay, and I will use that basically as a nitrogen source to essentially decompose and then put nitrogen back into the soil. I'm also move some of the topsoil, the layer of topsoil to the side, because I want to get down to the native soil and find out where the grass roots are, and then I can really whack it and get them out. After I plant the corn, I can move the topsoil back, and that will serve as a mulch, and it has all the weed that kind of serve as a green manure. Over here, it seems used to be a big piece of grass, a clump of grass that are growing over here. You can see some of the hay is already decomposing over here, so that will loosen the soil quite a lot. There's the big clump of grass. It's very hard to get rid of, but now they are almost, I think they are dead, but it's much easier after you cover it with hay for a few months and they're almost rotted. So it's much easier to use this light hoe to get rid of them. The nice thing with this hoe is you can go flat, but if you really want to dig, you can use the corner, and that just whacks out the weed. I get about 3 feet by 3 feet block cleared out. That didn't take me much time at all, maybe a few minutes, and it's done. So I need to do the rest of it. I actually found some earthworm over here. The soil has no life at all. Just by mulching it, seems to be, we start to see some sign of life in the soil over here. So what I'm going to do next is to clean this better and basically make kind of like a ditch using this home tool. It's a Korean tool and it has kind of odd shape, but it's really great for working on hard clay. So you basically can use it as a plow, and that dig up the trench or a ditch very easily. What I'm going to do is to have some corns growing on this side, and along the edge, I'm going to plant some taro roots. So that way, when the corns are small, the taro roots has big leaves, and they will collect the water, and the water make this area moist. When the corn are taller, it will shade the taro roots. Taro roots don't like a lot of sun. The leaves get burned. In the summer, when it gets really hot, the corn should be pretty tall. It will shade the taro roots. So that seems to be a good combination that I'm going to try. I will use this home tool to create the ditch. So I still have some roots over here, so the home tool is good for clean the residual root out because it has this nice pointed end. This long ditch or furrow is along the walkway for the taro roots, and then I'm going on this side. And make my furrow for the corn. So once in a while, I still get this deep roots, and I just use the home tool to whack it. I'm digging it deeper than I need it, so I can put fertilizer in there and then cover it back up and then plant the corn on top of it. The thing with Texas is most of the native plants are drought tolerant, so they have very deep roots and very strong roots, which is great as a cover crop. But when you want to get rid of them, it's kind of a pain in the butt. After I get rid of the root, then the homie tool, I use the homie tool as a plow, and so I can get the furrow deeper. The stuff that I'm digging out over here, basically clay mixed with compost hay, and so that is very good to use as mulch. I made 5 furrows parallel, and so they're about 3 feet apart. And so next, I'm going to put some fertilizer in there. These are home-brewed fertilizer, basically with compost fish guts, and I also mix some of the falafel pellet in there. So it's going to be a slow release nitrogen source. So I just put that in the furrow that I just dug. And then let it soak in. And then I will cover it back up. So basically, what I can do is just use the ones that I dug up. So I prepared the field, put fertilizer in there, and now I'm ready to plant the taro roots and the corn. I have 2 types of corn. They are all from Baker Creek heirloom seeds, and the first one is Stower's Evergreen. And I really don't know much about corn. This is the first time I'm planting it. Maybe I planted it before, but it was not successful. So hopefully this time it will be better. And since I'm doing succession planting, I'm going to just do half of these and then save the half for the other side. For planting that, I can plant where the furrow I just dug, or I can start a new one since the furrow was spaced pretty close. So if I put plant in between, the nutrition eventually will seep into where my corn will be. And so I guess usually you do about 6 inches apart. So I get about 4 rows over here. I put about 5 rows of corn over here. I get my blocks of corn, and now I need to plant my taro roots. The taro roots I got from the store-bought taro roots. We bought it probably a month ago and just leave it on the shelf. And now you can see that they start to sprout. This one is really ready to grow. So I just dig a hole that is deep enough, the one that are ready to grow, and it's just going to pop out like that. So I can feel that the water or the fertilizer I put in there is seeping up to this area, so I'm move it out a little bit more. Sometimes the clay holds the water very well, and if we get too much rain, the water basically the soil gets saturated, and of course lots of plants don't like that. Taro roots actually don't care because it actually can grow underwater. One way to keep the bed dry, you basically dig a trench along your bed. It doesn't need to be very deep, just to have a low area for the water to seep through. Once I finish the bed, I just use the homie tool and dig a trench along the bed. So it's kind of like make it a little bit elevated. So that's 1 block of corn is done. This section is probably 1/6 of or 1/8 of what I have. I cleaned everything, so now all I need to do is to plant my corn and my taro roots. This is 3 weeks after I prepared the bed over here and planted the corn. Now they have sprouted and it's growing well. There are some weed come out, so I just clean it out with a hoe or by my hand. We just got some rain last night, so it's a perfect time to do the succession plant. I already prepared the bed on the other side. I moved the mulch from this bed over there and covered it for 3 weeks. And then I moved the mulch away and then use a hoe to clear out that block. So now I can put more corns in there. So that gave me a big block of corns that hopefully we will get some sweet corn and also corn kernels for the chicken later this year. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, please leave it down below. If you have not done so, please hit the subscribe button to follow our journey with the East by West Farms.